It's Saturday morning, and I just spent an hour with Jensen Huang, the CEO of Nvidia, and Colette Kress, the CFO of Nvidia. What I actually did was eavesdrop on their last week's earnings call, and it's probably the best hour that I've spent to truly come to understand Nvidia, and then even beyond that, the change that is happening in what he calls accelerated computing and how it's going to affect the computer world from this point on. It's a wonderful spending of your time. Let me show you how I did it, and I'm going to show you that because I think it's something you should do. I actually listened to the call as I read the transcript. This way, I get total understanding. I also am able to stop the listening part of it and take notes. And I took about 4 pages of notes. And after I show you how I did this and explain to you this is not financial advice, I want to go through the notes with you so that you understand where Jensen and Colette are taking this company, what their future looks like, and most important, who are their primary partners and who else should we be investing in. Watch this. So here's what I did. I went to Nvidia's website, and I went and registered with them and got a recording of their Q2 fiscal 24 earnings call. I then went to Seeking Alpha, and I found the transcript, the printed version of the earnings call. I then went and turned this on. I'm not going to turn it on because one of the first things they say is do not reproduce it. It's copyrighted. So I listened to it as I read it, and that way I comprehend it. I then created notes on it, and I want to share the notes with you because I think this is probably the best hour that you could spend in the rest of this year to understand what AI is all about, to understand Nvidia, to get a list of their partners as to who they're going to be working with over the next decade to bring generative AI and accelerated computing to the world. Spend an hour and you will come away a much better investor. But let me give you my summary of it, and we'll go from there.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Griegmeyer.
Okay, that's how I did it. I suggest you make a habit of, in your own way, participating in the earnings call, listening or reading the earnings call. You can either do it through Seeking Alpha or you can do it through the company's websites in most cases. So it gives you an insight as to who runs the company, what kind of people they are, but most importantly, what they're trying to do and how they're doing at it. Okay, so I wanted to share some of the notes that I had. The public is well aware that they blew their earnings out. They increased their business by some 141%, up $10.32 billion, and it just blew it out. And as you go through it, you're going to see next quarter they're saying will be comparable, and then it will level off a bit. But the projections go on to say that it's going to last for a number of years. He explains very clearly that this is not just an upgrading of the data centers. It's a recognition that they need more computing power to handle these large language learning bases, and then also that's just the beginning of it. And the other thing that I was unaware of is by using Nvidia's GPT chips rather than the CPU chips, it actually makes the computers much more efficient, using much less electricity, generating much heat, and so the investment in giving the advanced computing power also has a payoff in that it makes them more efficient. He makes it very, very clear that if you are a software company or if you're a enterprise that is using and taking advantage of AI, you cannot do it without these advanced chips and the advanced computers. I think at one point he says, we talk about these advancements as if they're just a chip. He said, no, that's not it. And he explains that this is a component that has over 3,000 parts and weighs over 70 pounds, and that is what goes into the data center and makes AI entirely possible. One of the big things that I took away from this and said, I am so glad I listened to this, because he and Colette both go into quite a bit of description of who their partners are and how they are working with those partners and what the partners' position is going to be in the future on AI. And here is a list of the partners that they both mention on various occasions, starting with Snowflake, which I do not hold. All of these, I would say, would be part of the Bus 12 portfolio. I do own Amazon. I do own Apple. I do own Microsoft. I do not own ServiceNow. I'm trying to buy Adobe. He mentions a company by the name of Hugging Face, which is a pre-IPO. He also mentions numerous times VMware, which I do not own. I do own Alphabet. I do not know and was not aware of a company by the name of WPP. Also, it says, I guess it's in media publishing. And then he speaks to what he calls the enterprise systems. And these are the computer companies that they work very close with to upgrade your computer or your laptop to give you the availability and the functionality of advanced computing. And he mentions Dell, which I do not own, Hewlett-Packard Enterprises, and Lavino. So this is valuable knowledge, and I would not have been aware of if I hadn't spent an hour with Jensen and Colette. He also mentions, which kind of shocked me, that their gross margins are 70%. He didn't get into what their net margins were, but still, he mentioned that they are going to create a new $25 billion stock purchase. They had done and were most of the way through a prior stock purchase. So in essence, what that tells me is Jensen believes that the future value of this stock is going to be substantially more than what it is today, and thus he wants to buy those shares back and hold them in the vault at Nvidia rather than have them out in the market. He alludes that their revenues for the third quarter will be $16 billion, which through my calculation says that will be roughly a 60% increase in revenues, and their gross margins will stay somewhere around 71 to 73%. He was asked a question, is this maintainable? Is this something that is going to continue? And he uses some numbers. He says the data center industry is a $1 trillion industry, and it is in a transformation phase right now, going from accelerated computer and generative AI platform shift. So he's basically saying this isn't going to slow down. And from my reading beyond that, I know right after AI is machine learning, and machine learning is going to probably require another platform shift in the data centers. And as he explains, we're just getting started on the software part of it as people are learning how to adapt their business to generative AI and advanced computing. He also mentions that in the coming years, each year there will be roughly $250 billion of expenditure on data centers to make them more efficient by using the GPU chips and putting less service on the CPU chips, which use more energy, run hotter, and thus the new computers become self-fulfilling, if you will, because they are more efficient, they use less electricity, and they give greater computing power. And again, in that regard, he again mentions VMware and Snowflake. He's then asked a question of, will this demand continue? And his words were, the world is transforming from a general purpose computing to accelerated computing. Again, alluding to the fact that AI and machine learning are going to require greater computing power. He then makes the statement, he said it was In the past, it has been our practice to introduce new products about once every 2 years. He says that is now coming down to once every 6 months as a result of AI and the demand for more efficient computers in the future. He then gives a closing statement, which I wish I could play for you, but as they said, do not reproduce it. But this is it. And I would encourage you to stop this video, push print screen, print this finishing letter, and as a result, you will know more about Nvidia and what is happening in the computer industry than you did in the past. This will make you a 1%er. If you'll stop the computer, take a picture of this, and then read it. Or you can go to Seeking Alpha, page all the way down in the manuscript, and this is the last 2 pages of the manuscript. I don't know if you're a serious investor, you got 2 choices at this point. Get in the habit of listening to the earnings calls, spend your time, do your research, or you could just subscribe to my channel and you could join our tribe. I had this conversation on Friday, not to this depth, about not really about Nvidia, but about uranium and how what he's telling us is, these computers are becoming more efficient, but at the same time, they're going to be using more electricity, and that electricity has to come from someplace because we're already having brownouts, and we only have 1% of the vehicles on the road are electric. Where are they going to get the electricity to charge all those cars? Where are they going to get all the electricity to supply to these data centers? Where's it going to come from? It's got to come from nuclear reactors. And what powers nuclear reactors? If you don't know, look it up. But once you look it up, you'll know why I'm buying uranium. Okay, I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm a retired financial advisor. I don't have a whole lot to do with my time, so I do this. And it takes me about 4 hours every day to make a video, to do my research, and then to share it with you. If you'd like to be a part of the tribe, get on the bus. It's what I do is I share my portfolios. I share the details of when I trade them, how I trade them, and I give you my insights. If you want to continue to play this as a single sport or you want to make it a team sport, the choice is yours. My suggestion is get on the bus.